Welcome to our channel friends. Today we the true story of Princess Diana's death. The Crown's final season tells the story of Diana's last days. What really happened in the early hours of August 31st, 1997. In the early hours of the morning on Sunday, August 31st, 1997, Princess Diana died in a car crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris, France. In the car with her was her current boyfriend, Dodi Al-Fayed, Henri Paul, the driver of the car, and Trevor Rees-Jones, her bodyguard. Rees-Jones was the only survivor. Here's the true story of Princess Diana's death. Princess Diana and Dodi planned to be in Paris for less than 24 hours. Diana and Dodi had spent 10 days together on board Mohammed Al-Fayed's yacht, the Jonical, and then flew from Sardinia to Paris on August 30, 1997. She was due back in London on August 31, 1997, where her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, were returning from Balmoral Castle. The two arrived in Paris around 3 p.m., and went from the airport to Villa Windsor, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor's former home that Mohammed Al-Fayed purchased. From there, they went to the Ritz Paris, owned by the Fayed family. During this time, Princess Diana spoke to her sons on the phone. While at the Ritz, Dodi visited the Rapazzi jewelry shop in Place Vendôme. Early in the evening, they left the Ritz for Dodi's apartment on Rue Arsène Houssaye. The couple planned to eat dinner at Chez Benoit around 9:30 p.m., but due to paparazzi attention, ended up back at the Ritz. They first tried to eat at the L'Espadon restaurant, but 10 minutes later, went to dine in private in the Imperial Suite. According to the Associated Press, Diana is reported to have ordered an appetizer of mushrooms and asparagus, and then sole, for Dodi, turbot. The fatal drive began just after midnight. Shortly after midnight, they decided to leave the hotel to go to Dodi's apartment. Henri Paul, the head of the Ritz security, drove them in a Mercedes S280 car. Autopsy results later revealed that Paul was drunk. They left around 12:20 a.m. through the back entrance of the hotel. Though they had attempted to use a decoy car at the Ritz, paparazzi quickly picked up their tale. In the car, neither Princess Diana nor Dodi were wearing seat belts. Rees-Jones, sitting in the passenger seat, was reportedly wearing one. Around 12:25 a.m., the car entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel at dangerously high speeds. As the AP reports, seconds after the car enters the tunnel in the left westbound lane, it goes out of control, striking the 13th concrete pillar dividing the tunnel, rolls over and rebounds into the right wall. It then spins around. When the car stops, it is facing east, the direction it came from. An account from a doctor at the scene. At the same time as the crash, a French doctor, Dr. Frédéric Mélis, was driving through the tunnel. Witnessing the crash, he quickly rushed to the scene. "I walked toward the wreckage. I opened the door, and I looked inside," he recalled years later. He saw 4 people, 2 of them were apparently dead, no reaction, no breathing, and the 2 others, on the right side, were living but in severe condition. The front passenger was screaming, he was breathing. He could wait a few minutes. And the female passenger, the young lady, was on her knees on the floor of the Mercedes, she had her head down. She had difficulty to breathe. She needed quick assistance. He ran to his car, called emergency services, and grabbed a respiratory bag. She was unconscious. "Thanks to my respiratory bag, she regained a little bit more energy, but she couldn't say anything." Princess Diana was taken to the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital. At 12:27 a.m., firefighters received a call for help, and police and firefighters arrived at 12:40 a.m. When they arrived, both the driver, Henri Paul, and Dodi were pronounced dead at the scene. Witnesses later testified that paparazzi continued taking photos, and 7 photographers were taken into police custody at the scene. Sergeant Xavier Gourmelin, a firefighter, who was on the scene, said Princess Diana's last words were, "My God, what's happened?" When Princess Diana was extracted from the wreckage of the car, she went into cardiac arrest. First responders performed CPR, and got her into a hospital. Around 2 a.m., the princess and Rhys Jones arrived at the hospital. Per CNN's report at the time, ambulance workers managed to revive her at the crash scene, but her heart stopped beating on arrival at the hospital, said Dr. Bruno Ryu, head of the hospital's intensive care unit. Surgeons opened Diana's injured chest, closed a wound in her heart and massaged the heart for 2 hours in a vain battle to save her life, he said. Why didn't Diana have more protection with her? Years later, in Operation Paget, the investigation into Princess Diana's death spurred by numerous conspiracy theories that surrounded it, the report stated, in 1994, at her request, official personal protection had been removed from the Princess of Wales. She wanted less intrusion into her private life. Until then, the MPS Specialist Operations Command had routinely provided protection to her as a senior member of the royal family. From 1994 onwards she received such protection only if she was on an official visit that warranted such security or if members of the royal family who warranted protection in their own right, most obviously her sons, accompanied her. Diana's death is announced to the world. Princess Diana was declared dead at around 4 a.m. in Paris on August 31, 1997, she was 36 years old. At 6 a.m., Dr. Alain Pavey, head of the cardiology department at the Piti-Salpêtrière Hospital, held a news conference, announcing the death of the Princess of Wales. The British ambassador to France, Michael J., was there. He said, "The death of the Princess of Wales fills us all with shock and deep grief." Later that day, then Prince Charles flew to Paris with Diana's sisters, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows, to bring her body home. Princess Diana's funeral was held on September 6, 1997. Let us take a look at his life. Diana, Princess of Wales, born Diana Frances Spencer, July 1, 1961 to August 31, 1997, was a member of the British royal family. She was the first wife of Charles, Prince of Wales, and the mother of Prince William and Prince Harry. Diana's activism and glamour made her an international icon and earned her an enduring popularity as well as an unprecedented public scrutiny, exacerbated by her tumultuous private life. Diana was born into the British nobility and grew up close to the royal family on their Sandringham estate. The youngest daughter of John Spencer, 8th Earl Spencer, and Frances Shan Kidd, she was strongly affected by their divorce in 1967. She did not distinguish herself academically, but was talented in music, dance, and sports. In 1978, she moved to London,
Diana came to
where she lived with
in
flatmates and
1981
took on
upon her
various
engagement
low-paying
to Prince
jobs.
Charles,
the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth II, after a brief courtship. Their wedding took place at St. Paul's Cathedral in 1981 and made her Princess of Wales, a role in which she was enthusiastically received by the public. The couple had 2 sons, the Princes William and Harry, who were then second and third in the line of succession to the British throne. Diana's marriage to Charles, however, suffered due to their incompatibility in extramarital affairs. The couple separated in 1992, soon after the breakdown of their relationship became public knowledge. The details of their marital difficulties became increasingly publicized, and the marriage ended in divorce in 1996. As Princess of Wales, Diana undertook royal duties on behalf of the Queen and represented her at functions across the Commonwealth realms. She was celebrated in the media for her unconventional approach to charity work. Her patronages initially centered on children and youth, but she later became known for her involvement with AIDS patients and campaign for the removal of landmines. She also raised awareness and advocated ways to help people affected with cancer and mental illness. As princess, Diana was initially noted for her shyness, but her charisma and friendliness endeared her to the public and helped her reputation survive the acrimonious collapse of her marriage. Considered to be very photogenic, she was a leader of fashion in the 1980s and 1990s. Media attention and public mourning were extensive after her death in a car crash in a Paris tunnel in 1997 and subsequent televised funeral. Her legacy has had a deep impact on the royal family and British society. Early life. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1, 1961 at Park House, Sandringham, Norfolk. She was the fourth of 5 children of John Spencer, Viscount Althorp, 1924–1992, and Frances Spencer, Viscountess Althorp, née Roche, 1936–2004. The Spencer family has been closely allied with the British royal family for several generations. Diana's grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer, Countess Spencer, and Ruth Roche, Baroness Fermoy, had served as ladies-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The Spencers were hoping for a boy to carry on the family line, and no name was chosen for a week, until they settled on Diana Frances, after her mother and after Lady Diana Spencer, a many times great-aunt who was also a prospective Princess of Wales. On August 30, 1961, Diana was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church, Sandringham. She grew up with 3 siblings, Sarah, Jane, and Charles. Her infant brother, John, died shortly after his birth 1 year before Diana was born. The desire for an heir added strain to the Spencers' marriage, and Lady Althorp was reportedly sent to Harley Street clinics in London to determine the cause of the problem. The experience was described as humiliating by Diana's younger brother, Charles. It was a dreadful time for my parents and probably the root of their divorce because I don't think they ever got over it. Diana grew up in Park House, situated on the Sandringham estate. The Spencers leased the house from its owner, Queen Elizabeth II. The royal family frequently holidayed at the neighboring Sandringham house, and Diana played with the Queen's sons Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. Diana was 7 years old when her parents divorced. Her mother later began a relationship with Peter Shand Kidd and married him in 1969. Diana lived with her mother in London during her parents' separation in 1967, but during that year's Christmas holidays, Lord Althorp refused to let Diana return to London with Lady Althorp. Shortly afterwards he won custody of Diana with support from his former mother-in-law, Lady Fermoy. In 1976, Lord Althorp married Rayne, Countess of Dartmouth. Diana's relationship with her stepmother was particularly bad. She resented Rayne, whom she called a bully, and on one occasion Diana pushed her down the stairs. She later described her childhood as very unhappy and very unstable, the whole thing. Diana became known as Lady Diana after her father later inherited the title of Earl Spencer in 1975, at which point her father moved the entire family from Park House to Althorp, the Spencer seat in Northamptonshire. Education and career. Diana was initially homeschooled under the supervision of her governess, Gertrude Allen. She began her formal education at Silfield Private School in Gayton, Norfolk, and moved to Riddlesworth Hall School, an all-girls boarding school near Thetford, when she was 9. She joined her sisters at West Heath Girls' School in Sevenoaks, Kent, in 1973. She did not shine academically, failing her O-levels twice. Her outstanding community spirit was recognized with an award from West Heath. She left West Heath when she was 16. Her brother Charles recalls her as being quite shy up until that time. She showed a talent for music as an accomplished pianist. Diana also excelled in swimming and diving, and studied ballet and tap dance. After attending Institut Alpin Weidmannet, a finishing school in Rougemont, Switzerland, for 1 term, and leaving after the Easter term of 1978, Diana returned to London, where she shared her mother's flat with 2 school friends. In London, she took an advanced cooking course, but seldom cooked for her roommates. She took a series of low-paying jobs. She worked as a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. She then found employment as a playgroup preschool assistant, did some cleaning work for her sister Sarah and several of her friends, and acted as a hostess at parties. Diana spent time working as a nanny for the Robertsons, an American family living in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court in Earl's Court as an 18th birthday present. She lived there with 3 flatmates until February 25, 1981. Marriage. Lady Diana first met Charles, Prince of Wales, the Queen's eldest son and heir apparent, when she was 16 in November 1977. He was then dating her older sister, Lady Sarah. They were guests at a country weekend during the summer of 1980 when she watched him play polo and he took a serious interest in Diana as a potential bride. The relationship progressed when he invited her aboard the Royal Yacht Britannia for a sailing weekend to Cowes. This was followed by an invitation to Balmoral, the royal family's Scottish residence, to meet his family one weekend in November 1980. Lady Diana was well received by the Queen Mother and the Duke of Edinburgh. Prince Charles subsequently courted Diana in London. The prince proposed on February 6, 1981, and Lady Diana accepted, but their engagement was kept secret for the next few weeks. Engagement and wedding. Their engagement became official on February 24, 1981. Diana selected a large engagement ring that consisted of 14 solitaire diamonds surrounding a 12-carat oval blue Ceylon sapphire set in 18-carat white gold, which was similar to her mother's engagement ring. The ring was made by the Crown Jewellers Gerard. In 2010, it became the engagement ring of Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge. The Queen Mother gave Diana a sapphire and diamond brooch as an engagement present. Following the engagement, Diana left her occupation as a kindergarten assistant and lived for a short period at Clarence House, which was the home of the Queen Mother. She then lived at Buckingham Palace until the wedding. Diana was the first Englishwoman to marry the first in line to the throne since and Hyde over 300 years earlier, and she was also the first royal bride to have a paying job before her engagement. She made her first public appearance with Prince Charles in a charity ball in March 1981 at Goldsmiths Hall, where she met Grace Kelly, who was the Princess of Monaco. 20-year-old Diana became Princess of Wales when she married the Prince of Wales on July 29, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, which offered more seating than Westminster Abbey, a church that was generally used for royal nuptials. The service was widely described as a fairy tale wedding, and was watched by a global television audience of 750 million people while 600,000 spectators lined the streets to catch a glimpse of the couple en route to the ceremony. At the altar, Diana inadvertently reversed the order of Charles's first two names, saying Philip Charles, Arthur George instead. She did not say she would obey him. That traditional vow was left out at the couple's request, which caused some comment at the time. Diana wore a dress valued at £9,000 with a 25-foot, 7.62-meter, train. After she became Princess of Wales, Diana automatically acquired rank as the third highest female in the United Kingdom order of precedence, after the Queen and the Queen Mother, and was fifth or sixth in the orders of precedence of her other realms, following the Queen, the relevant Viceroy, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen Mother, and the Prince of Wales. Within a few years of the wedding, the Queen extended Diana visible tokens of membership in the royal family. She lent the princess the Cambridge Lover's Knot tiara, and granted her the badge of the Royal Family Order of Queen Elizabeth II. Children. The couple had residences at Kensington Palace and Highgrove House, near Tetbury. On November 5, 1981, the princess's pregnancy was officially announced. In January 1982, 12 weeks into the pregnancy, Diana fell down a staircase at Sandringham, and the royal gynecologist Sir George Pinker was summoned from London. He found that although she had suffered severe bruising, the fetus was uninjured. Diana later confessed that she had intentionally thrown herself down the stairs because she was feeling so inadequate. In February 1982, pictures of a pregnant Diana in bikini while holidaying was published in the media. The Queen subsequently released a statement and called it the blackest day in the history of British journalism. On June 21, 1982, the princess gave birth to the couple's first son, Prince William. Amidst some media criticism, she decided to take William, who was still a baby, on her first major tours of Australia and New Zealand, and the decision was popularly applauded. By her own admission, the Princess of Wales had not initially intended to take William until Malcolm Fraser, the Australian Prime Minister, made the suggestion. A second son, Prince Harry, was born on September 15, 1984. The princess said she and the prince were closest during her pregnancy with Harry. She was aware their second child was a boy, but did not share the knowledge with anyone else, including the Prince of Wales. Diana gave her sons wider experiences than was usual for royal children. She rarely deferred to the prince or to the royal family, and was often intransigent when it came to the children. She chose their first given names, dismissed a royal family nanny and engaged one of her own choosing, selected their schools and clothing, planned their outings, and took them to school herself as often as her schedule permitted. She also organized her public duties around their timetables.